Alright, hello everyone, this is Crota coming at you. Today is, well, January 27th, and it is with a sad, sad heart that I will be well, casting Zotac Cup for the very last time this week. After a 6+ year run, bringing us some of the best WarCraft 3 tournaments, or consistent WarCraft 3 tournaments out there, Zotac has decided to move on to other events, and it looks like they're going to be starting a Hearthstone tournament. So, yeah, it is with a really, really sad heart that the Zotac Cup or the Z Cup does come to an end. This game is taken from the semifinal round, so I am actually going to be casting all of the semifinals and the finals just as a tribute to Warcraft 3, the Zotac, and the 300 plus people who have won many of these Zotac Cup tournaments. Now, LawLiet is spawning as the pink Night Elf player on the top right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, we can see that Yumiko is spawning as the blue human. Human versus Night Elf, nothing too out of the ordinary here. This game is a best of 3 matchup, and I am looking forward to what these players have in store for us. Barracks now coming into play, Archmage most likely being added, as we are going to be going into an Ancient of War off over here. Let's take a look. The Altar of Elders is showing a Warden first, and we'll see if he goes for that solo Warden strategy. Solo Warden has become very, very popular, as it does have one of the best ultimates in the game, especially against a human player. A human player who oftentimes calls militia in order to deal with any sort of base aggression. However, because of the fact that militia are relatively low on hit points, they can end up being a little bit of a vulnerability, as all of a sudden you're going to have these invulnerable units out on the field. Scout Tower is now scouting out, even though it is not yet done. You can see that the Archer is already pulling all the way back here. That Ancient of War is rooted right there, and LawLiet is actually in a little bit of trouble. He's taking a lot of damage on this Ancient of War, and he hasn't really had anything to show for it as of yet. He needs to perhaps repair this Ancient of War. It is currently down to 188 hit points and dropping quickly. This is not good. It looks as though the Ancient of War will just get taken out, as the turtles and everything else is now heading back over. A wisp now coming over to repair. We'll see what comes off there. Archmage creeping out a mercenary creep camp, gonna drop another water elemental. It looks as though this creep camp will give level 2 to that Archmage. Very, very important for that Brilliance aura and for more healing and more units. Meanwhile, Sea Turtle Hatchling does go down as well. Boots of Speed left behind, a very nice item, since the Archmage is generally a very fragile hero. Its movement speed is perhaps one of its main ways of getting out of trouble. Coming back around, LawLiet now being forced to use a whole bunch of Wisp in order to repair this Ancient of War. You can see that the Ancient of War has taken a bit of damage, but still deciding to take a little bit of damage off of one Sea Turtle Hatchling, as the Archers and the Warden are now going after that unit there. So far, so good in terms of the overall gameplay. The Ancient of War may start to root itself. Meanwhile, down over here, we can see that a second Ancient of War is coming into play, and this has become a much more common strategy for Night Elf players. Night Elf players, knowing that at any time militia could be charging down the ramp or charging down the road, need to have a second way of training units just in case one of those Ancients of War do in fact fall. You can see the militia are down over here, and you can see some damage is being dealt to that Warden. Archmage is getting in some easy shots there, as a Troll Berserker comes in as well. Alright, this Warden, taking a lot more damage than she bargained for, will be forced to retreat with her cloak between her legs, so to speak, as we are now going into a fast expansion by Yumiko. Yumiko, fast expansion, setting up here. You can see 5 militia there, double, or 1 troll Shadow Priest, 1 troll Berserker should be more than enough, as we are still sitting at Tree of Life. Meanwhile, this Ancient of War is tanking a lot of that damage here, as the Warden, perhaps still wandering around, may get to level 3 eventually, or very, very quickly, because of the long distance experience gain. That water elemental taking a lot more damage than he expected gives level 3 to the Warden, and that is always a heavy heart. Giving your opponent that necessary or enough experience for another level always hurts that much more, as now Yumiko and LawLiet are on equal footing. LawLiet now running back around. You can see that there is currently a pendant of energy on that Warden, so that means that this Warden could turn into a blinking fan of knives shadow striking machine if given the opportunity. LawLiet is currently shadow melded here. Meanwhile, off to the north, a footman is attempting to take down some of these wisps. The wisp are just going to be able to run back here. There is one tome of intelligence +2. Not quite sure why it is just being left behind, as the footman is hoping to get taken out by a tree. It looks as though, oh, is it going to get taken out by a tree? Yes, it does. LawLiet does not even bother trying to train a wisp. That would have made it so that the footman would not got hit by the tree and given him a little bit more experience. Coming back around, you can see that the fan of knives Warden is sitting right inside the space. The Archmage does not have dust of appearance, has no real way of getting inside here. And what is happening here now? The footman now going toe-to-toe, or I guess glaive versus sword here inside the base. Are we going to shadow meld again? Yes, we are. And a shadow melded Warden inside the base could cause a bit of problems, as the Warden does get off another fan of knives, getting in some damage. Gonna go after a Troll Shadow Priest. Looks like it will get taken down with no problem, and the Warden is still currently shadow melded with 105 mana. There is the reveal, though. The Warden's gonna be forced to just dance back out of here in just a moment. Did not get the necessary fan of knives on all the units around it, and there goes that Warden again. That Warden very, very low on hit points, trying to hide off to the north. Gonna shadow meld off to the north. Not gonna really work there at all. Gonna shadow meld here, and all this is really doing is it's causing Yumiko to spend 50 gold after 50 gold trying to reveal that location. All right, let's see. Wand of Mana Stealing there. You can see that the Warden is sitting right there. There is another reveal, and all that Warden is doing is just trying to hide in a different location and doing exactly that, buying time. But Nightfall is going to be coming to an end. There it goes, finally using the Scroll of Town Portal. Not quite sure who spent more gold. I gotta believe that the Warden spent more gold, but then again, the Warden is already sitting at level 4 due to that infinite range experience gain. Warden now sitting at 465 mana, maximum mana already after all of those crazy antics. Let's take a look, and I'll go ahead and pick up a Gloves of Haste as well. 2 Gloves of Haste, a Staff of Teleportation, Boots of Speed. Some very nice items already, as the Warden still wandering the field. It looks as though, yes, Wand of Mana Stealing will be left behind here. Archmage still sitting at level 4, does have the Arcane Vault, and is already upgrading to a keep at the natural expansion. Very smart call, so that he can call to arms off of this keep if there is any sort of pressure placed here. Meanwhile, back over here, one Water Elemental gonna run in and accidentally just walk through this absolute gauntlet. Abolish Magic quickly taking it down, as the Warden now sitting at level 4 and getting awfully close to level 5 at this stage in the game. We are only about 8 minutes into this game, and we are already almost at level 5 on a Warden. That level 4 Warden may even get up to level 6, which is one of the reasons why you go solo Warden, or rather the only reason why you go solo Warden, as the Warden wants to get some even more experience. Alright, oh, the Zeppelin picks up the unit, but it is already taking damage from the Shadow Strike. There it goes. It dies inside the Zeppelin there, as we may see the Warden try and do a little bit of pressure here again. Alright, Troll Shadow Priest, the Troll Berserker taking a lot of damage there. It looks like it will get taken down. Is it going to get taken down? Down to 7 hit points, down to up to 20, down to 3, and there it goes. The Warden gets another Troll. A very, very easy kill there, as the Goblin Zeppelin is currently up in the air, as LawLiet is also setting up his own expansion. Warden playing a little bit of ring around this nasty location there. There's a Shadow Strike. We could see a fan of knives. Yes, we do. Arcane Tower gets in 2 shots once more, and that's gotta hurt when you know that the mana that he's using to cast those spells are mana that he stole from you in order to kill you. All right, Troll Shadow Priest. 3 of them for LawLiet. Let's see the Staff of Teleportation. Where exactly did that Warden go? Warden is currently right off over here, getting and using a Clarity Potion. Could easily use the Tome of Intelligence +2 as well, and have even more mana for the upcoming battles. Meanwhile, the Warden, I believe, did he drop the potion of, or the potion of mana? I don't. Or the pendant of mana? No, I don't think so. The pendant of energy not quite done there, as you can see that the water elementals are now currently trying to hold off this attack here. Troll Shadow Priest attempting to come into the very backside and will be in the very far back area here. Meanwhile, Arcane Vault already taking a lot of damage. Warden now trying to engage. Militia being called over. And here is the Militia now being called over just because this was upgraded to a keep. The Warden may try to make a move down over here, perhaps try to disrupt all of the healing, as we currently have a Goblin Laboratory off down over here. So far, one Footman apparently not realizing that he is all alone quickly gets taken out, and the Warden now for some reason wasted a Shadow Strike onto that Footman, now down 75 mana for no real reason other than to be down 75 mana, as we see a Pocket Factory come into play. LawLiet with a Pocket Factory. Let's see, it looks as though it's just going to be a Staff of Teleportation. Footman could try and come in here. Are we going to perhaps see a Fan of Knives? Yes, a huge Fan of Knives, as the Warden now trying to back off. The Warden about to get away, down to 340 some odd hit points, and may perhaps jump inside the Zeppelin. Yes, it does, as there is another Zeppelin overhead. All right, let's see where the reinforcements are coming in from. The Tree of Life currently taking a bit of damage. You can see that the Huntresses are all right there. The Entangled Gold Mine still only sitting on 2 Wisp, not even really repairing, as we are looking at the Goblin Zeppelin on the backside here. The Goblin Zeppelin could get off a Fan of Knives and then quickly goes back in once more, and still trying to perhaps launch many Fan of Knives out, but the problem is that Yumiko's Warden is currently low on hit points. Alright, there's another Fan of Knives there, and what's going to be happening, the Warden needs to back off, perhaps dropping the Pendant of Mana, or Pendant of Energy here in just a moment, perhaps going to just buy a Potion of Healing. That would not be a bad call either, as that is a very, very low hit point unit. So far, the Tree of Life currently getting repaired, more towers coming up. Goblin Tinker does have a Pocket Factory back over here, still getting more as we see massive detonations come in. The Warden now looking to perhaps rush on into here, could take down some of these very important buildings, does use the Pendant of Mana, and there is a huge Fan of Knives right there. Also use the Potion of Healing. Is he going to perhaps take down another group of units? Another Fan of Knives could really melt away some of these footmen here. Are we going to see it? And no, we don't see it yet. Abolish Magic coming in, and now the Warden, very, very low, does get off another Fan of Knives, getting in some easy damage, and it looks as though, yes, another Footman will get taken down. Warden so close, now sitting at level 6. There's the Avatar of Vengeance, and all of a sudden, things are going to switch around for LawLiet. LawLiet in a very good position here. You can see that the Spirit of Vengeance just dealing so much damage across multiple units. Only the Avatar of Vengeance can actually take damage. Everything else just falls apart, and now this tower attempt, which was looking so strong just moments ago, all these spirits need to do is just go after these towers and try and take them down. Alright, let's take a look. Another Footman does get taken out here. The Warden sitting at level 6, continuing this fight. As we are looking, another Shadow Strike comes in as well. And there goes the Archmage. Archmage down to 10 hit points. Buys a Potion of Healing just in time, as it is already down to 170 hit points and counting. Alright, we are still continuing this fight here. Goblin Tinker taking a lot more damage than he bargained for. May get taken down here in just a moment. There it goes. Gets taken down alongside the Ogre Mauler. And LawLiet trying to focus down perhaps some of these guard towers, but they are constantly getting repaired. Alright, the Avatar of Vengeance does need to back off, taking a little bit too much damage. Now looking to back off here, you can see a Goblin Shredder is joining in on the fight from Yumiko. Yumiko's Goblin Shredder takes down one Troll Shadow Priest, but we are still looking at a very, very uphill battle, as Yumiko only has a couple of guard towers, but it looks as though, yes, it looks as though LawLiet is going to end up losing this Tree of Life, and yes, it does go down. So LawLiet losing the Tree of Life, that is going to be the only real reason to be fighting here, and now Yumiko doesn't need to fight here, or rather LawLiet doesn't need to fight here either, as you can see that the Warden is just coming in right into position, getting off some easy damage, and now there goes one guard tower, level 7 now on the Warden. The Warden sitting at level 7, the Archmage sitting at level 4. The Warden could try and overcommit here and really just push after this Archmage. The Warden now at level 7, continuing the chase, realizing that it is still on cooldown. His Shadow Strike decides to back off, and oh, are we going to see an attack there? The Warden down to 66 hit points and now retreating once more. 2 guard towers in position. All right, Moonwell's off to the north here. That That Warden, very, very dangerous, very, very low on hit points. Not quite sure what it can do right now. Does have 400 some odd hit points, and that is it. That's all that it's standing between the two armies, is that one Warden, and that Warden needs to find a way to get some damage in onto those units. All right, there is an Avatar of Vengeance there. All right, Ivory Tower is coming into play as well. Guard Tower unable to really do anything, as the Scout Towers are now just getting picked apart pretty easily. Avatar of Vengeance now backed off here. Are we going to perhaps see a little bit more attacking? It looks as though the Guard Tower down to 100 some odd hit points, down to 80, down to 60, down to 30. There it goes, and may try to get even more attacks in as well. Yumiko loses another Scout Tower there, as the Warden gets off a nice fan of knives, gets some easy damage, and now backing away. The Tinker now looking to back off. Do we have enough mana for, yes, another Avatar of Vengeance? And there you have it. The Avatar of Vengeance is just constantly casting, trying to get more and more Avatar Vengeances onto the field. That Avatar of Vengeance down to 1,000 hit points, but will end up taking down the necessary building, as there is only a Scout Tower and an Arcane Vault left. 36 over 66. Meanwhile, 36 over 66 compared to 39 over 50. And Yumiko is still just sitting on one base right now, or two bases right now, but only two heroes. One hero for LawLiet. My apologies, I am getting a little bit confused, but we are looking at the Spirits of Vengeance is trying to take down this Arcane Tower. It will be able to do so if they're able to deal more damage than what is currently being repaired. It looks as though that is the case now, and just a handful more. No, the Spirits of Vengeances are now slowly disappearing, and as they're disappearing, obviously their DPS is going down, and it looks as though this Arcane Tower will live to fight another day, as this Arcane Tower is now going to be reaching full hit points. Back off to the top right here, you can see two Goblin Shredders, a Goblin Tinker, and an Archmage all ready to go. Warden now looking to push on in right here, and it looks as though the Warden is taking a bit of damage. This could be a little bit of a difficult situation, as the Warden now has some company with the help of the Avatar Vengeance now has some company with the Warden, and now we are going to get some Spirit of Vengeances. This is going to turn things around all of a sudden, as the Warden can easily even go after some of these other units. All right, the Peasant going to be taking a little bit of damage. All right, there you go. This Avatar of Vengeance taking an absolute beating, but it looks as though the Yumiko's Arcane Tower will get taken down. Meanwhile, back over here, double Goblin Shredders and a Pocket Factory attempting to take down a Tree of Life. It looks as though we are still fighting our way here. There is a Fan of Knives. There is a Shadow Strike. Too little, too late, though, as all the units will now back off and head back home. Warden sitting at level 8 for LawLiet. Meanwhile, back down over here, Yumiko now without anyone mining and any guard towers here. Yumiko may end up losing this castle if he's not very careful. Meanwhile, it looks as though LawLiet is now establishing up his natural expansion for the second time, and that is going to that's going to come out very, very good for him if he can hold on to that economic advantage. So far, we are still fighting through here. What is going on? You can take a look. The Warden now trying to take down this castle, and it looks as though the castle will get taken down. Yumiko maybe giving up the GG here in just a moment. There's the Warden now trying to come in. There you go. There goes after the Shadow Strike, and Yumiko gives the GG. Yumiko loses game 1 in this series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.